incredible, not used to, we have a history of serious activism, socialism, anarchism, syndicalism, unionism. You know, this community has really organized itself many times in the past. And that's, I think, the wave of the future, is for the community. Wonderful things that are happening in the community, and there are. Let me tell you that even though we have the highest poverty rate, our teens volunteer more hours per week than any other community in the state.
Wow.
Yeah. Volunteerism among young people is huge.
It is what it is. It's a working class neighborhood. We're not going to be an upscale, creative community, and that's fine. The state doesn't have to be full of them. But that's a lot of kind of where people go, is they think, well, this worked for this community, so why don't we try it on this one? But I think you have to work with the people that are here.
First off, you know, Barre's a granite town. Barre is a blue-collar town. When you look around, a lot of hard-working folks. There's been some loss of industry around here, so that's an issue. We have a community that we have a lot of older folks. You know, we have a lot of retired folks living in Barre. And then we have a lot of issues connected that I feel are connected to us being the county seat.
I know.
Yeah, but, you know, homecoming would have been a good time to be here to see that, you know, there is a sense of community here. And Barre has a lot of good people in Barre, living, working, retired in Barre. And they do come together, and they are concerned about their city and how things look and everything. So I think okay, when you look around at some, not all of the problems, but some of the problems here and some of the concerns and the complaints that people have about Barre or living in Barre, some of them are centered around the fact that we have all the services here. You know, as a county seat, we have DCF, we have Department of Corrections, we have probation and parole, we have the court, we have all the services except for one, full-time. And that is, we don't have employment and training here anymore, full-time. They used to be here, there was issues with the building, and although they do have a satellite office, they're not here full-time. We have a higher percentage of people under supervision for DOC than the majority of the other communities in Vermont. I think, with the exception of a couple of small communities, Winooski is at 4%. We're at 3-something, 3.63 or 3.83. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but we're number 2 on the list. There's a couple of little towns with 400 people that skew the numbers to come in at number 2 and 3 and put us at 4th. But when you look at communities over 5,000, we're number 2 on the list with regards to percentage of offenders and the people that are associated with them as well as the problem. That's a drain on the community. It's a drain on services, whether it's fire department, ambulance, police services. It's a drain on services. And that affects people here. There's a lot of people here that have nothing to do.
We've heard that.
That seems to be a theme. That's from all ends.
And that needs to be qualified. When somebody tells me they have nothing to do, and when I first came here as a chief, and I used to live in Barre.
Okay.
20 years ago.
Was it a much different place?
It was. And I used to live in Orange before that. And my wife grew up in central Vermont. Barre used to be the place to come to because Montpelier rolled up the streets and closed down at night. Now it's the other way around. And I don't think it has to be that way. But when I first came here, the complaints were that the kids were a problem. And it's not the kids, because when you start looking at the people that are the problem, the vast majority of them are adults. I think the average age, just this one location we had issues with, the average age was like 28. So you're not a kid anymore, okay? And we have quite a few things that kids can do around here. Could we use more? Yes. But when you're 35 years old and you think the city has a responsibility to entertain you, I think you're wrong, okay? You know, you're 35 years old, you're hanging out on the street, and you're getting in trouble because you're hanging out, and not getting in trouble because you're hanging out, but as a result of your hanging out, you're getting involved in fights, you're getting involved in disorderly conducts, you're getting detoxed, you're drinking in public, those kind of things. And then to blame the city because there's nothing to do and you're 30, 35 years old, I think you're wrong. It's not the city's job to have to entertain you at that age and or find things for you to do. So I hear a lot of that, and I hear a lot of people try to blame the kids, and at one time they tried to blame the homeless people. We have some homeless folks here and that utilize the shelter and stuff, but with the exception of like 2 or 3 individuals, we don't have a lot of issues with the few homeless people that were here. There was some issues with people camping out along the river downtown, and everybody assumed that they were homeless people. They weren't. They were people with nothing better to do that were utilizing that area as party spots and utilizing it for other criminal activity, so that it was close connection to where they could buy beer, and there was a little system in place for kids, underage people, to buy beer and have these guys buy beer for them. So those kind of things. So, you know, that perception and what people tell you when they tell you that there's nothing to do here, look real hard at the people that tell you that there's nothing to do here. I get kids that say we'd like more things to do, and I agree. It'd be great if we could find more things for them to do, as well as our elderly folks. I mean, when you look at what a city's responsibility is for taking care of everybody, yeah, they have a responsibility for taking care of everybody's well-being as a whole. You know, your safety and being in a good environment and looking out for things like the streets and the lights, and Barre has come a long ways in the last couple of years on doing that thing. But then when you look at the 2 groups that get extra attention, your elderly folks should get extra attention and your young folks should get extra attention. The people in the middle, whether we like it or not, because I'm in the middle too, we should be working to make sure that those other people have the opportunities to get that extra attention. That's just my perspective of it. And we, in my observations, we have a group of individuals that fall into that middle category that think that the city has a responsibility to entertain them. And I don't think that responsibility is on the city.
Okay. In terms of like community complaints or crime, or is it